Leno, Liu, Lowenthal, Maldonado, Negrete McLeod, Oropesa, Padilla, Pavley, Price, Romero, Runner, Semidian, Steinberg, Strickland, Walters, Wiggins, Wolk, Wright, Weiland, Yee. Mr. President, we are lacking a quorum.
The absence of a quorum has been duly noted. Will the Sergeant-at-Arms lock the door and call the absent members, please? Members of the Senate, a quorum is present. Would the members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We will be led in prayer this morning by our chaplain, Rabbi Mona Alfi. After which, please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Senator Gloria Negrete McLeod.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There's a saying in the U.S. Military Academy cadets that should also apply to those engaged in public service. They say, risk more than others think is safe, care more than others think is wise, dream more than others think is practical, and expect more than others think is possible. If we follow this advice, there are two things that are likely to happen. First, we are likely to achieve greater success in our endeavors, and secondly, we will become personally invigorated and re-inspired from having dared to be passionate about what we do. May the Holy One grant us the ability to be fearless in our dreams of what is possible, caring and compassionate in the actions that we take, and bold in our expectations of what can be accomplished. May this be God's will. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Privileges of the floor. Motions, Senator Keogh, for what purpose do you rise?
A brief introduction, Mr. President.
Proceed.
Thank you. In the rear of the chambers, members, I'd like us to give a warm welcome to three outstanding fire chiefs from California. San Miguel Fire District down near my area, Augie Guillo, Mark Baker, Lakeside Fire Department, and Mike McMurray, Fire Chief from Scotts Valley Fire Protection District. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your service.
Additional privileges of the floor. Motions, resolutions, and notices. Members, do we have motions, resolutions, and notices? If not, consideration of the daily file. Second reading. Secretary will read.
Assembly Bill 1459 by Assemblymember Davis. Assembly Bill 62 by Assemblymember Portantino. Assembly Bill 213 by Assemblymember Lowenthal. Assembly Bill 313 by Assemblymember Fletcher. Assembly Concurrent Resolution 60 by Assemblymember Gilmore. Assembly Bill 237.
Without objection, deemed read. Governor's appointments. We have governor's appointments, items 8 through 16. Yes, Senator Kehoe. For what
Sorry
purpose?
for the interruption, but if I could possibly return to motions and resolutions for a moment. There is an outstanding young man. Is Senator Huff ready?
Without
Yes.
objection.
Senator Huff and I have some introductions.
I thought perhaps Mr. Huffman was going to be your outstanding
Well,
young man.
he is an
so
outstanding gentleman,
there you
and
go.
I'd like nothing fonder to introduce
All
him.
right.
But what members, if I could, I'd like to draw your attention to the CIF, that is the California Interscholastic Federation's Male Scholar Athlete of the Year, Malcolm McGregor. Malcolm? Malcolm is a senior at Francis Parker School in my district in San Diego. He excels in the classroom and in athletics. He's a member of his school's lacrosse and football teams, and he has a 4.61 weighted GPA. That's how smart he is. He volunteers for the community in addition to his school and athletic work. He teaches computer classes to senior citizens. He works at the San Diego Food Bank, and he advises incoming freshmen at his school. Malcolm will be attending Stanford University in the fall. In his outstanding accomplishments, he will receive a $5,000 award from CIF to help with his study. Please join me in congratulating Malcolm McGregor as California's Male Scholar Athlete of the Year.
Thank you, Senator Kehoe, and we look forward to having Mr. McGregor at Stanford in the fall when he will become a constituent of mine rather than a constituent of Senator Kehoe's. Members, under motions, resolutions, and notices, Senator Huff on this item. Forgive me.
Yeah, I thought I'd try out this desk for a change. I also have a student athlete that I would like to recognize. Candace Wu from my district in Placentia is an outstanding athlete scholar. She focused her energies into her schoolwork, worklessly tiring to maintain a 4.6, that seems to be a common GPA here, and attaining an astonishing 2330 on the SAT. She placed second in the Chemistry Olympiad and third in the Science Olympiad, volunteered over 300 hours at Placentia Linda Hospital. She is a member of the president and was a member and president of many academic clubs at school and the founder of the Chem Club. She was a very active and accomplished athlete, especially as a four-year varsity tennis player on Valencia High School's team. I wish Candace the best of success at Johns Hopkins University in her studies in the biomedical program and for all future endeavors. For these reasons, I'm proud to present Placentia's own Candace Wu as the California Interscholastic Federation Farmers Scholar Athlete of the Year. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating her.
Members, are there any other privileges of the floor? Senator Leno.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motions and resolutions, please.
Under motions and resolutions, Senator.
I've been asked to remove from consent and to place on inactive AB 712 by Assemblywoman Evans, referring to Small Claims Court.
And would you repeat the item again, please?
At the request of the author, requesting that item 36, AB 712, be removed from consent and placed on inactive file.
Thank you very much, Senator Leno.
Thank you.
Members, do we have any other business under either privileges of the floor or motions and resolutions? Senator Denham.
Mr. President, under motions and resolutions, please move AB 1059 from consent to the inactive file at the author's request.
Thank you, Senator Denham. Anything else under either privileges of the floor or motions and resolutions? If not, governor's appointments. Senator Steinberg, do you wish to take up any governor's appointments? Senator Steinberg, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Want to recommend for consideration today Adele Arnold, Carol Biondi, and John Ingracia as members of the Correction Standards Authority. The members were heard on the 29th of April and approved on a 5-0 vote without any objection. I'd urge an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Aye. Benoit. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. Desaunier. Aye. Ducheney. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Romero. Aye. Runner. Aye. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Wright. Wolk, aye. Wyland. Yee. Yee, aye. Onnested, aye. Benoit, aye. Mr. President, ayes 32, no 0.
Call the absent members.
Cedillo. Corbett. Cedillo, aye. Corbett. Ducheney. Flores. Maldonado. Walters. Wright. Wyland. Ayes 33, no 0.
Ayes 33, no 0. The appointments are approved. Senator Steinberg, do you have additional appointments?
Thank you again, Mr. President. This is file item 10.
Secretary will read. Senator Steinberg, you may proceed.
Thank you. This is the appointment of Askia Abou-Majid as a member of the Board of Parole Hearings, the Juvenile Division. Again, this was a 4-0 vote. Senator Cedillo was absent, but no opposition. This gentleman was a former chaplain at CDCR, and we would ask for an aye vote.
Secretary, call the roll. Forgive me. Senator Denham.
Mr. President, I rise in opposition. Certainly with the juvenile offenders, we are unable to research the types of crimes that these juveniles commit before they come back up, but before the parole hearings. But just looking at the case numbers themselves, in this circumstance, he has seen 846 cases, has approved 752 for release at a release rate of 89%. For that reason, I'm voting no.
Further debate or discussion? Further debate or discussions? Senator Steinberg, you may close.
Once again, I respect Senator Denham's opinion, of course, but we found this gentleman to be fair and impartial, and we strongly recommend his confirmation.
Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Aye. Benoit. Aye. Calderon. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Correa. Cox. Aye. Denham. No. Desaunier. Aye. Ducheney. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Kehoe. Aye. Leno? Aye. Lou? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Aye. Semidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Yee? Yee, aye. Correa, no. Mr. President, ayes 30, noes 2.
Call the absent members.
Calderon? Aye. Corbett? Ducheney? Flores? Huff? Maldonado? Walters? Wyland? Mr. President, ayes 31, noes 2.
Ayes 31, noes 2. The appointments are approved. Members, back under privileges of the floor. Senator Correa. For what
Thank you,
purpose?
Mr. President. For purposes of introduction, I'd like to welcome, please help me welcome my summer intern, Ms. Mi Young Tran, at the back of the floor.
Welcome to the Capitol. Senator Kehoe.
Thank you, Senator Semidian. If we could look up in the gallery for a minute, I think my North Park Elementary School students are here. Where are you? There you are. And their teacher is Christy Montag. Welcome to your state capitol, boys and girls.
And Senator Huff. For what purpose?
Thank you, Mr. President. For purpose of recognition, again, look up to the gallery. We have Golden Springs Elementary School, an award-winning school from my home district and hometown of Diamond Bar. Welcome.
We join you in welcome. Senator Steinberg, do we have additional appointments?
We do. We have four more actually. If we may, we'll try to move through it quickly. File item 11 is Robert Cameron as a member of the Board of Parole Hearings for the Juvenile Division. Again, 4-0 vote, including Senators Onnested and Dutton. Strong support from Senators Onnested and Dutton. Urgent aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Senator Denham.
Well, Mr. President, I expect that we have another strong vote by Senator Correa and Senator Denham on this one. This is the same type of situation. I know that there's some on this floor that think that early release is the way to go, and if that's the way you feel in a budget situation like this, you'll have no problem of voting for this appointee, Mr. Cameron. Much higher release rate. The last one was only 89% release rate. This one's 98% release rate. So if you're for early release, this is your guy. 118 cases, 115 have been released. Again, I ask for a no vote.
Further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Steinberg, you may close. Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Aye. Benoit? Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Correa? Cox? Aye. Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Dutton? Aye. Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Lou? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Aye. Semidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? Wiggins? Aye. Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Yee? Yee, aye. Correa, no. Leno, aye. Maldonado, aye. Mr. President, ayes 30, noes 3.
Ayes 30, noes 3. The appointments are approved. Senator Steinberg?
Thank you. Item 12, one last member of the Board of Parole Hearings, the Juvenile Division, Susan Mellinson. This was an especially strong 4-0 vote by the committee. Would urge an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Senator Denham?
Well, Mr. President, I wish we'd actually taken this one up first because it looked like we were building up steam there, picking up more votes. Again, this is only based on percentages. Because it's the juvenile courts, we are unable to see exactly what the crimes each of these individuals has committed. But let me just show you the difference in the statistics. The first one we took up was 89% release rate. The last one we took up was 98% release rate. And this one is a 66% release rate. There certainly is some differences in these numbers. I expect that the number one job of these boards and these hearings is to make sure that we are keeping the public safe. I would ask for an aye vote.
Senator Dutton? Senator Onestad?
Mr. President, members, at
One moment, Senator Onestad.
Mr. President, members, the reason for the difference in the rates is because these were all done at the correctional facility called Stark in Southern California, which houses the worst of the juvenile offenders in Southern California. You would expect those rates to be somewhat lower. It has nothing to do with the person or the policies. It simply has to do with the facility that these hearings are held in. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Onestad. Further debate or discussion? If not, Senator Steinberg, you may close. Senator Steinberg waives his close, and the Secretary will call the roll.
Onestad. Aye. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Benoit. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Correa. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. DeCheney. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Price. Aye. Romero. Aye. Runner. Aye. Samidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Yee. Yee, aye. Correa, no. Mr. President, ayes 30, noes 1.
Ayes 30, noes 1. The appointment is approved. Senator Steinberg?
Last ones for this morning, members. This is file item 14. It's Dr. David Maxwell Jolly as the Director of the Healthcare Services Department, Toby Douglas as the Chief Deputy Director of the Healthcare Services Department, and Michael Wilkening, the Deputy Secretary of the Health and Human Services Agency. These appointees, again, were approved on May 20th, a 3-0 vote. Senators Oropesa and Cedillo were absent, but it was bipartisan, obviously, with myself, Senators Dutton and Onestad voting yes. We all found these three people to be outstanding public servants, responsible for a very complex area of public policy, and we urge an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onestad. Aye. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Benoit. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Correa. I. Cox. I. Denham. I. DeSaulnier. I. Ducheney. Dutton. I. Flores. Hancock. I. Harmon. I. Hollingsworth. I. Huff. Kehoe. I. Leno. I. Liu. I. Lowenthal. I. Maldonado. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Oropesa. I. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price. I. Romero. I. Runner. I. Semidian.
Aye.
I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Walters. Wiggins. I. Wolk. I. Wright. Wyland. Yee. E-I. Mr. President, ayes 32, no 0. Wright, aye. Mr. President, ayes 33, no 0.
Ayes 33, no 0. The appointments are approved. Senator Steinberg, does that clear the list of appointees today?
Yes.
It does. Thank you. Members, we will then go to Senate third reading, file item 18. Senator Wiggins on file item 18. Passed. Under Assembly Bills, third reading, we have file item 19. No manager. File item 20. Senator Oropesa. Secretary will read.
Assembly Joint Resolution 11 by Assemblymember Furutani, an act relative to the National Multicultural Cancer Awareness Week.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and colleagues. Although slightly late, I'm very happy to present this resolution, which designates a week in April. So we are tardy on this, but I think it's still worthy of doing, as National Multicultural Cancer Awareness Week. While much positive work has been done in reducing cancer incidence and death, 1 in 2 Californians born today will be diagnosed with cancer. That's a shocking statistic. 1 in 2 Californians born today will be diagnosed with cancer. And it is estimated that cancer will cause over 50,000 deaths in California this year. To continue forward progress on the goal of eradicating cancer, especially in the most ethnically and culturally diverse state, we must acknowledge and seek ways to address the cancer disparities that exist in different communities. Cancer control cannot be one size fits all. Successes have been made. For example, we now have statistically significant declines in breast cancer rates in African American and Hispanic women. This is a testament to the success that can occur if we continue our vigilant commitment to the cause and continue to educate, reach out, and address barriers to success. I urge your aye vote on this important resolution.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Benoit. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Corbett. Correa. Cox. Denham. DeSaulnier. Aye. Ducheney. Dutton. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hollingsworth. Huff. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Romero. Aye. Runner. Semidian.
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Walters. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Yee. E-I. Correa. Aye. Maldonado. Aye.
Secretary, call the absent members.
Onnested. Ashburn. Benoit. Cogdill. Corbett, Cox, Denham, DeCheney, Dutton, Flores, Harmon, Hollingsworth, Huff, Runner, Strickland, Walters, Wyland. Mr. President, ayes 23, no 0. Ayes 23, no 0. Senator Oropesa moves a call. Members, we are in Assembly third reading, file items 19 through 32. Do we have members who wish to present items under Assembly third reading? Senator Maldonado. File item
23, Mr. President.
File item 23. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Joint Resolution 2 by Assemblymember Caballero relative to Mexican braceros.
Yes, Mr. President and members, AJR 2 would urge the United States government to urge the Mexican government to extend the deadline for Mexican laborers known as braceros. It's important to me because my father was a bracero. To submit a claim to recover unpaid wages from the savings fund. It also urges the Mexican government to accept a variety of documents as proof of valid claim that they were braceros. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Benoit. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. Aye. DeSaulnier. Aye. DeCheney. Dutton. Aye. Flores. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Aye. Romero. Aye. Runner. Aye. Semidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Wiggins. Aye. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Yee. Yee, aye. Mr. President, ayes 33, no 0.
Ayes 33, no 0. The resolution is adopted. Members, do we have any other members of the Senate wishing to present Assembly third reading items 19 through 32 this morning? If not, then we have a consent calendar and special consent calendar today. Members, without objection, the following resolutions will be withdrawn from committee and placed on today's special consent calendar. ACR 66, ACR 66. Without objection, so ordered. Members, that does bring us to Senator Pavley.
When it's appropriate to announce a committee hearing.
All right. I think what we'll do is ask Senator Oropesa, are you ready to lift the call before we? All right. Thank you. Members, we have one item on call, and that is file item 20. Secretary, please lift the call and ask and call the roll.
Onnested. Ashburn. Benoit. Cogdill. Corbett. Cox. Denham. DeCheney. Dutton. Flores. Harmon. Hollingsworth. Huff. Runner. Strickland. Walters. Wyland.
Ayes 23, no 0. The resolution is adopted. Members, that takes us to consent calendar. Without objection, we'll substitute the unanimous roll call. This is on item number 41. Ayes 33, noes 0. Consent calendar is passed. On special consent calendar, one item. Without objection, substitute the unanimous roll call. Ayes 33, Noes, 0. Special consent calendar is passed. Senator Powley, for what purpose do you rise?
For the purpose of letting members know that the Senate Committee on Natural Resources and Water will be meeting in room 112 immediately after session.
And Senator Hancock? One moment, Senator Hancock. Your location has the board confused. Please begin.
Thank you very much. The Elections and Constitutional Amendments Committee will meet in room 3191 immediately upon adjournment.
Are there any other announcements? Senator Maldonado.
I'd like to adjourn in the memory, Mr. President.
Senator Maldonado.
Mr. President and members, I'd like to adjourn in the memory of a fiercely independent woman that passed away not long ago. Her name is Patricia Gill. She passed away peacefully in King City. She was born on November the 2nd, 1925 in Columbus, Montana. She was an Irish-American daughter and a homesteader who made her way to this great state called California. She was always adventurous as a young woman who loved riding her horse called Cal, riding those beautiful ridges in the Monterey County. Pat attended St. Vincent's High School in Montana, and as she made her way, she did so many things for the people of California, being involved in a program that's close and dear to my heart, which happens to be the 4-H program of California, and the Red Cross, and I can go on and on and on. At the end of all of this, she was always had a competitive spirit, loved playing games, and loved her family. We will miss her. May she rest in peace, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Maldonado, and if you'll be sure to bring the name forward to the desk so that the in memoriam can be properly recognized and we convey our sympathy to the family and friends. Members, do we have any other items before the House? If there is no other business, Senator Steinberg, the desk is clear.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. President, session will reconvene Monday at noon. There is a Democratic caucus Sunday evening at 7 o'clock in the Maddie Lounge, Sunday evening. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
The Senate will be in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made and we will reconvene Monday at noon. The Senate is in recess.